Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Lourdes IT ESafety presentation this evening on behalf of the school supported by Lourdes IT. We're here to show you how to keep your young people and yourselves safe whilst you're online. Our presentation will be approximately 30 to 40 minutes. Obviously, you're free to come and go at any particular time and follow along. You can see up on your screen at the moment there is a QR code that you can scan if you're watching on a device and you've got your phone nearby or a tablet nearby. You can scan the QR code and you can watch the PowerPoint in full screen on your device as well. You can also on there change how I'm speaking and get it to come up in home language of your choice as well. So without any further ado, we'll get started with the presentation. Okay, so the whole point of this session is to offer you practical hints and tips for keeping your family safe online at home. You would have heard through the news and lots of other places of all the scary things that are out there in the World Wide Web, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that you're aware of them and you've got some real good tips to go away with to protect your family this evening. And the whole point of what we're talking to you about is so that you as parents have got a good awareness of the threats and you know how to have strategies to work with the young people to make sure that they get the best out of the internet and that they can be safe whilst they're doing it as well. So it is a presentation, I'm afraid. Hopefully you can see me on the side of it, and we'll go through some key points as well. So first of all, a bit of introductions. My name is Matt. I'm the IT service lead over at Lourdes IT. We support over 40 schools now across Worcestershire and Warwickshire, providing IT support to them, making sure the systems work safely and securely in school. But also we've recently sent home students with laptops through a laptop scheme, and we are able to ensure that they're safe on all those devices. Obviously in your home it's your setup and we want to give you the advice for that. I've been an IT service lead for about 7 years. I've worked in IT for about 14 years now. I'm what's called a designated safeguarding lead, which means I have the same training as the designated safeguarding leads in school. I've been on courses to learn how to keep people safe and what the best practice is. But more importantly, I'm also the parent of two children. You can see them in the bottom left hand corner there, James and Megan. They are 8 and 15 years old. So I've obviously parented them using online tools, and much to their despair I do use them as a few examples in this chat. So I am a parent. I understand the challenges that are there. And my daughter herself has got a laptop now, and she's starting to want to use online places such as Roblox and whatever, and just like you guys, I need to make sure that she's safe and secure at all times. And even I don't know everything that comes out every single day, so it's all about learning where to look and find the information as well. You'll see on your screen that you've got the option to send me any questions as well through the Q&A. It is just me online this evening, so feel free to put any questions in there and I'll do my best to answer them as I go along. If not, I'll make sure they're answered at the end of the session as well. So what are the 4 biggest risks to young people about online and everything that they need to be really concerned about online? So the first one is conduct. It's about knowing children knowing their own behaviour, making sure that they are aware of the risks, so they know what might happen if they're sharing too much information. They know what fake news is. They know where is safe and what's not safe and those risks. So we'll talk a bit about that. We'll also talk about how we can ensure content is age specific for children, and making sure that they only access the stuff that within their range as well. And lastly, we'll be talking about commercialism, young people being aware that there is hidden costs and hidden advertising in apps, games and websites, and making sure that you as parents know where they are, and students, your children, sorry, know that they shouldn't be doing and taken advantage of those things, and that they're targeted advertisements to them, so they may be fooled into following things. So that's what the key risks are. Let's have a look at where the risks are. Risks include using devices such as smart phones, gaming devices, tablets, smart TVs, laptops and computers. These are all available often in the bedrooms now of our children, if not ourselves. And the differences in all the technology means that they can use apps across all of these different devices to access in different ways for you to understand as parents the same things. For example, on all of these devices, YouTube is available, and on all of these devices, that then means as parents you need to make sure that you turn on the protection and the filtering for those YouTube. And once you perhaps control one and move it to another, then but they will probably jumped onto the other device and start watching then. So it's how can we understand the individual risks across those devices, but also what can we do to bulk block it? And we'll be talking about some of that, some real actionable stuff that you can do straight away in a minute. So what are your responsibilities as a parent? First, I'll start talking about what our responsibilities are in school and how that translates through to at home. So we've got a responsibility in school and as a service provider to make sure that access to the internet and all associated online services and even internal services are safe and secure for students. So we need to make sure that whilst we're not blocking everything outright, that we are aware that there are places on the internet we don't want young people to go. That could be because the content is not suitable. It could be that there is a danger to them. It could be at a younger age opening up to concepts that they're not old enough to understand fully. We do that by filtering the internet. So all of our internet at school goes through what's called a filtering system. We use something called Smoothwall, and that filtering has regularly updated lists, and it also scans the content of the page to know what's there, and it will protect the children from anything that they go on to. It also logs everything that they do as well, and we can differentiate between the older children and the younger children, particular times of the day, and obviously between staff and students as well. We also have software in school called Senso, and there's some different variations around at our school. And Senso and these other software are more reactive. So your Smoothwall blocking it is your proactive, so it stops them even getting there. Senso can pick up on when individual words or bad websites or bullying takes place, anything which hits and sets off the alerts, and those pictures get sent and taken to school, to the DSLs, the designated safeguarding leads in the schools, and their colleagues, who then interact with the children and make sure that they're aware and safe of anything they might say. And it genuinely saves lives in schools. It saves lives because children might not always realise that they're being filtered or monitored, but some do. And I want to just quickly touch on a story that really hit me about the importance of this kind of stuff, and that was about a young lady who was being abused sexually at home, and she popped onto the computer in school and went to make a report to the police through the internet. She didn't actually send that report, but our staff were able to alert the school, and the school staff were already alerted to it because that she'd used a word in her report that had triggered the Senso client. So it had taken a picture of the screen and alerted a member of the staff. She didn't press send on that alert, she didn't send it, but because we had the software in place to protect her, she was able to be found and made safe and looked after at all times. So it's very important that we do that in school, but obviously at home as well. So what are your responsibilities as parents? Well, the first one is to know what they're doing. You won't achieve anything in terms of understanding what your children are doing if you don't have a conversation with them. And you as parents are able to have those conversations with a child from a young age so that they don't be afraid to talk to you about what they're doing. The World Wide Web and things attached to it is fantastic. And young people are what I describe as, and others describe as, digital natives. They've never known a world where they haven't got an Alexa, or they haven't got a smartphone or a tablet or video on demand, or the ability to chat to anybody in the world, whereas most of the rest of their parents have, and parents and grandparents have this is all new to them. So they're going to be coming into this and think it's not the norm to use technology to do all these things, and potentially not understand the risks of it. So if they're having conversations with you about stuff and you're confident to have conversations with them about the World Wide Web and everything on it, and you're keeping your ear to the ground to understand what new things are, then there hopefully won't be any secrets. And that's when you can have those conversations where you challenge if they do things that they shouldn't do, or they might be putting themselves in danger, so that they can understand the risks and understand why you are trying to put in safeguarding stuff for them. There's a really good family agreement from ChildNet International that you can get from childnet.com, and you can make an agreement with your children about what is suitable online and what your home restrictions are. So it's like a contract, and it puts in top tips in there, about you can review the agreement as the children get older. You can also make sure everybody is applied to it, and I'm going to talk in a bit about the importance of what you model to your children about your online use as well. It's also important that within that document and within the conversations, they know where they can get help, either at school or in other locations, the police maybe, if they don't feel comfortable with talking to you about stuff. And none of us as parents want to think that our children don't want to feel comfortable talking to us, but it does of course happen. So where can they get help? Let them know that those places that are signposted, that they can get help, and we'll talk about them in a minute, as well as how children can get help and where they can get it from. It doesn't, I'm sure you agree, it doesn't matter where they get help from, as long as they get help if they feel that they need it. So let's talk about some stuff that you can do straight away, and that's what I really want this event to focus on about. The biggest and the best protection that you can give to your family is filtering your internet before it comes into the house, and that is done by using your internet service provider and turning on filtering on the device. So your internet comes into your house, it's unfiltered, it goes via your router out to every device. Rather than filtering the individual devices and locking the individual devices down, which of course is important, you can actually filter all the internet coming through it. All the major ISPs, internet service providers, provide it, and you may need to turn it on, or it might be already on, and you can log on and you can change settings. There is a great website resource for this, and I'll show you that now. It's called saferinternet.org, and it's actually a fantastic environment for you to go on as a parent and learn all the tricks of the trade and all the secrets, and it explains a lot of the trending items on there as well. But a really important thing to note is that filtering is only on when they're connected to your broadband. So on their mobile, if they switch to their data, then they won't be filtered anymore. So that's really important to know. But with everything that I'm talking, knowing is half the battle. If you know that they're using their data and they're going through their data a lot more than what they're going through what they would do normally, then you can have a conversation and see why that is, and how they are, why they're using the internet via data and avoiding the home filtering. Maybe that's a point to have a conversation and say, well, actually, I'm okay with unblocking with that website, or well, you shouldn't be going on that website anyway. So let's have a look at the Safer Internet website. Here we go. So the saferinternet.org.uk website, you can see on my screen now, and this website has handy guides for parental. So if I take you back to the home page, this is the homepage of the UK Safer Internet Centre, and if you go onto the Advice Centre and go down to Parents and Carers, There's even a bit for grandparents on here. You can scroll down and it has lots of really useful tools on here. So it has information about how to have a conversation, which I've touched on already, guide to different types of technology, information on all the online services. So if we go here, we can look at the different social networks, different web browsers, and how TV on demand works as well. What are the key issues? But this is the one here that we're going to focus on. So we're going to focus on the parental controls offered by your home internet provider. And you can see on this screen here, if I just make it a bit bigger, that it will talk you through on here, BT, Sky, TalkTalk and Virgin Media. So obviously it depends which provider you have, and if it's not listed on there, then it's very easy to just type into Google the name of your service provider and parental controls, and that will give you the step-by-step guide here. But on here you can see you've got BT, you've got Sky, and you've got TalkTalk and Virgin Media. Now they all offer slightly different ways of filtering your connection. For example, Sky allow you to set it in an age range. In fact, the majority of these devices allow you to set it in an age range. So websites, and they're categorized between different ages. Generally speaking, 13 and below, they won't be able to go on social media. They obviously won't be able to go on pornography. They won't be able to go on self-harm and such like that. But 13 is the age for social media in the UK, so it will block social media. On some of them, you can whitelist specific websites or even specific devices to avoid these. So if you want to be allowed onto your social media, you can exclude your phone or your laptop by its name, and it will allow you to do that. Not all of them do that, and I'll explain how you can do that in a minute if you don't have one of the suppliers have it built in. But you set that. You can also set times for the filtering to be turned off. So if you've got a much younger child or you don't let your children take the devices into the room, then you can say if they're in bed by 8, then the filtering comes off at 8:30, and you can use the internet how you'd like to use it. So it's well worth following those guides as an initial level of protection. They also help you against phishing attacks and viruses, protecting you from dodgy websites that are trying to steal your details or your children's details as well. So I absolutely would make sure that that's turned on your device, and the UK Safer Internet Centre tells you how to do that. As I say, if your ISP is not listed, so you're not with BT, Sky, TalkTalk or Virgin, which are the big four, then you can just do a quick Google search for parental controls and the name of your provider. Now, if you want to go into a little bit more detail about what you are filtering, there are lots of other ways. There are now you can buy wireless kits that have filtering built in. So the next big technology in home is not going to be more powerful Wi-Fi to hit those dead spots, because there's a limit on how strong the signal can be. It's going to be the ability to place multiple Wi-Fi hotspots around your home, like we do in the schools, to cover a bigger area. And they actually come now with filtering built in. So I was setting it up at my mum and dad's the other day. They'd built one. It was for 3 points, a TP-Link one. You just plug them in, set it up using your phone, really easy. Of course, I didn't tell them that. They're really easy to set up around the home, and your internet coverage is improved, your speeds are improved because you've got more of these devices around the home. But built into that is the ability to filter on a lot bigger scale than you would be able to through your TV, your internet service provider. So these wireless devices allow you to pinpoint specific devices, to pinpoint and set different profiles for those devices and different times when the filtering is applied. So it's really, if you really want to get into the security element of it and really protect your children, have a look for mesh Wi-Fi. The TP-Link devices, I believe they're called M5s, are really well recommended. They're not the cheapest. It's £150 for 3 for wireless, but it will improve your signal quality. If you have any dead spots, make sure it's faster around the house for lots of different reasons, but it does include the filtering on your home broadband. And as your children get older, you can change the filtering settings around there. If there's only 2 or 3 of you in the house, then you probably don't need that level, but if you've got a house full, then it's good to be able to change it by device. But just bear in mind, you're going to have tablets, you're going to have phones, and you're going to have laptops and computers as your children get older and older, so it's really good to be able to put those settings on there. So just to catch up on that again, the best protection that you can go away tonight and put onto your devices is turning on your filtering on your home broadband. So we've already talked about what settings we can send, about doing the different age limits, doing the watershed time so it finishes. You can also allow bypass of the filtering on some of them if you know the password. So you can have a password for adults, so they can just put that in and bypass it as well. And it's really important that you don't share that password, obviously, or make it particularly easy. There is a whole website, and I'll put it up in a second, about known usernames and passwords. And I've known recently some children to be really clever, and where their parents have got hacked, they'll go and probably haven't changed the password. They'll go to this website, type in their email address, find out what passwords that it knows that they've got, and off they go to get around it. If it's your dog's name, your house name, if they know the password, you can't afford for these passwords to be set to a really easily guessable level. Same as if they know, for example, your Sky login or your Virgin login, they're going to be able to go and turn the filtering off. So you need to make sure that that password is only known by you, otherwise there's no point in doing it. So let's talk about some specific devices in your home and how you can protect on them. So games consoles, a big one we get asked about in school, because it is a way that the majority of young people connect outside of school. It's actually not on social media that much these days, mainly because you're on social media, parents on social media, so that's uncool for the kids, and they don't want to see their mum, their dad have them following on them. So actually where they can escape and they can get into their own world, is through the gaming consoles. So you may already know, but during using game consoles such as Xbox, PlayStation, but also Nintendo, the latest Nintendo devices as well, even some of the cheaper tablets where they're playing games and apps, they will have chat. And that chat may be in a conversation view, but it might also be in a chat room or with a microphone that they'll have on as well. So it's really important that you understand the new kind of risks if your young children have a microphone in the room live. Obviously, that can pick up background noise. So you may have people who you don't know listening to conversations in your house because your son or daughter is using their voice in their games. And don't get me wrong, it's fantastic to be able to play with your friends in the games and have that live chat. But it's worth A, being nearby, but B, being aware that they've got that microphone on as well. And also being in control of who they can talk to. So you can set settings in the Xbox, PlayStation, and obviously the Nintendos as well, where you can control who they can add as their friends. On the Xbox and the PlayStation, you can also authorize every friend that they want to add to it as well. So their friends can add them, and then they have to come and ask you to put in a code on the device to allow that person to become their friend. And I highly recommend doing that, certainly for ages probably 12, 13 and below. They may well have friends at school and you'll know those friends, and it's a great platform for them to engage with and learn. Games like what's it called? Minecraft, that's the one. Games like Minecraft are really good for development, and such lots of other games as well. They are really good for development and lots of skills on there for them to do it, and made better. Schools developing their communication skills. Seen adverts recently for the army where it said, you've got some really good skills if you can play the online games. But you've got to be in control of the parental settings on those devices, and they are available. Again, if you search Google, you can have a Microsoft Family account for your Xbox. You can also have a PlayStation Family account, and the same for Nintendo, where you as a parent can set the settings of what they can and they can't do. So can they add friends? Can they add friends without your permission? Can they chat with those people, those children? For example, if you've got a young person who's using Roblox, which is a moderated online game, which is across different platforms, you've got the option there to set a pin on the settings page to turn off the ability to chat with other users and to control the content that they can see. So every platform has parental settings that you can and you can't do. That you can set and change, and on that Safer Internet website, as I showed you earlier on, there are guides step by step how to do that. But the best advice that I can give you, rather than going through the step by step ways to do it now, is actually just to Google parental controls and the name of the device, and it will show you how to do it as well. But if you're stuck where to start, then it's saferinternet.org.uk. The other thing, of course, to be aware about, and I touched about this when we started, was about in-game purchases. Hopefully nobody here has experienced what happens when a young person decides to buy stuff without asking you for permission, but most accounts these days require you to have some kind of credit or debit card registered to it, and the way that the developers make their money is by offering in-game purchases. Now, on all platforms, whether it's on your Apple phone or your Android device, on your phone or your Xbox or anything like that, you have controls on there about what they can spend and buy as well. For example, on the Microsoft Xbox, you can assign them credit and they can use it however they want, but they're limited to how much you give them. So you gift them amount on there as well. So it's really important to know that and know what they're buying as well. The other thing is, if you've got children with a computer, and I'll come to this more in a moment, but they've got access to everything online to buy. So bear in mind that that's not as easy to protect as what it is for a gaming console, and it's a big tick in the gaming console's box that they have so many parental controls on them compared to a laptop or computer. So if you were thinking about, should I buy a laptop, computer or gaming console for gaming, one of those elements that you just think of is that a gaming console is really quite easy to manage compared to a laptop or another device. So we've already touched on laptops and computers, but specifically within Microsoft devices, they have a family center. And my big recommendation for you at home, by the way, is to all have your own log to a computer. Even if you've got children, if you sign them up correctly and give them an account that you're in control of in the family, so it's marked as a child's account, let them have their own account. If they start using your account, then they've got access to all the logins that you have, no doubt, and they'll have access to your emails and your websites, and you might have been on stuff that you don't want your children to see. So I absolutely recommend having their own areas. And I know a lot of parents are a bit skeptical of giving them their own areas and being locked out of what they're doing. But if you use the right tools, then you're not. And the right tools to use are the Microsoft Family tools. So if we just open up the Microsoft Family website, I can talk you through these. So here we go. So the Microsoft Family Safety website allows you to choose different options for your young people's device. So that you don't all have to have an account on there. You add the device to your account, and then you can control the accounts on there as well. So if you've got multiple laptops and computers in the house, you can apply this to all, and different users will have different settings, and those settings can include the ability to set screen time limits. So either that is within a certain amount of time, or so they can't log onto the computer earlier than say 8 o'clock in the morning and later than 8 o'clock at night, or it could be they can't spend more than 3 hours a day on their device. Doesn't matter what the time is. You can use that setting to set that up so the laptop will log off or not let them log on if they've exceeded those times as well. You can also turn on internet filtering, an extra level of internet filtering, but also filtering of games as well. So a really important point on games is, like films, they have age restrictions on them. So when you go, it's called PEGI, P-E-G-I. When you go and buy a game, you'll see that it's got an age rating on it, just like a film. So what you can do on both your Xbox and your PlayStation, but also your computer, if that DVD or that game is outside of the age range that you want to do it, you can get it to block it completely, or they have to come and speak to you for you to make that choice and allow them to do it. So that's very, very useful to have on there as well. You also get activity reports. So you're never going to block or control everything. But if you've got the ability to have a look at activity reports, you can see what they're spending their time doing. And if there's something there that concerns you, or you want to have a word with them and remember about having that conversation with them about, then you can say, oh, I've seen on your activity report that you've been on Minecraft for 3, 4, 5 hours on Saturday. You know, what did you get up to? Who were you talking to? Who were you playing? And that just helps those conversations flow as well. And you can also find your family as well. On some devices, it allows you to find your family where they are or where your devices are as well. So you can sign up for all that. If you've got a Microsoft device and you've got a Microsoft account, you can sign up for all that online. Just search, as I did, for Microsoft Family Accounts and it will guide you through it step by step. You also get your weekly reports in your email as well, and you can set multiple parents and multiple kids accounts on there as well. So on tablets, you've obviously got the iPads, you've got Kindle Fires, you've got lots of Samsung devices as well, tablets around. You've got some cheaper ones that are running Android as well. Again, the best thing to do with any of these devices is to search on Google for the device name and parental controls. Both Samsung and Apple devices offer parental controls. So if you have an iPhone, you're probably best buying, if you can afford it, I know they're very expensive, an iPad for your children if you're going for a tablet, because through your iPhone, you can control everything that you need to control in terms of the what the children can do, what they can access, timings that they can use it and get a full breakdown of what they're doing. You can also do that, of course, there is an app for iPhones, but also on the Samsung devices, there's an app obviously for the Samsung devices, the Google devices, that allows you to do exactly the same. So no matter where they are, they don't have to be at your house, you know, they can be anywhere they like. You can control what they can access, what they can install, and what they can do with that as well. So they've got kid modes for very young kids, but also for the older kids, you can still be in control of what they're doing. And again, that's not stopping them doing things that they want to do, but it's making sure that they ask and you know. So if they want to install an app, it comes up on your device and you have to approve it. So you can have a chat. Okay, what is this? You know, why do you want it? What is it? Who do you know that's on that system? Who do you want to talk to? And you can have those important conversations there as well. And that's carried through into phones. Now, phones are probably the most common that all your children have got or are going to get probably first, and they're very, very powerful these days. In fact, it's likely that you won't necessarily buy a device such as a tablet. You may well go straight to a phone. And it's really important that you make a contract with your children when you sign up for a contract for them, or you get a pay-as-you-go phone, so that they understand what it means to have data, what it means to go over that data, what it might do in terms of costs. Most providers, you can phone up and put a cap on the amount that it will cost you each month. So you can speak to your provider and say, I don't want it to cost to go any higher over a data limit, and they'll be able to put that in for you. And I really would recommend doing that with young children, because they don't appreciate how much data they might use. But make sure on their phone they've got the app that, you know, from Tesco Mobile or O2 or 3 or etc. EE, that they've got the app where they can see their usage limits, and they can see when they're getting close and understand that there are those limits and they can't go over them as well. Most phones also allow you to, in your login, it blocks you from the worst kind of content on there in terms of pornography and other content on there. It will stop people from going on them unless they can identify themselves with a credit card, so prove that they're over 18. But actually, the type of content that you want to be more aware of on your phones is the self-generated content as well. So obviously messaging apps, and we'll come on to specific apps in a minute, are the big risk. You don't want to turn them off, but you also don't know what people are going to send through. So we'll talk about how you can help and monitor that in a minute as well. And bear in mind, we talked about earlier on about if they're connected to the router, they will be filtered on the internet, but they can obviously turn it off and use the data. So this is where actually Sky is really good with their ability to give data to your children and roll it over and put it into there, so you can be in control of when they've got data and when they haven't got data. And actually that is a really useful feature as well, so that you can control what they are using it for and if they're getting around your filtering as well. But Android and iPhones both have modes that you can turn on filtering to make sure that it's as secure as possible. So let's talk about apps, let's talk about platforms, and feel free to ask any questions about platforms and what they might, if you've got any questions about, want to know what one is, or about a bit more details about it, then feel free to add them in, because there's there are ones that are coming up all the time, brand new. So let's just talk about some of the big names. Let's talk about Facebook, for an example. Lots of people, think about children going on Facebook, and let me tell you, they don't go on there anymore because you're on there. So they probably won't want to go on Facebook at all. But obviously, one of the things that you need to be aware of is what you put on Facebook and how that might impact your young child. So we'll come on to that in a minute as well. But lots of games, lots of websites have links with Facebook, LinkedIn. So they might, unknown to you, sign up for a website or web something, and that will allow them on the Facebook side of things to get an account perhaps without you even knowing. Some people say it's fine, my Facebook, my child has a Facebook, but I can see them, I can see their Facebook. That's rubbish, because you only see what they want you to see. The children can control who sees which posts, and they can exclude you from seeing some of them as well. So that anybody who uses that as an excuse, oh, my child's got one, I can see everything they post. You can't, because they can turn posts off to come out for other people and not you. So they shouldn't be using, if you've got a child under 13, it's easy, they shouldn't be using social media. It's as simple as that. But if over 13, be very, very careful of Facebook and how open it is by default as well. So Instagram is obviously all about photos, and it is the main platform that young people are using at the moment. Instagram allows you to share photos, but also to do Instagram stories. It's where you take little snapshots of your day and people can view them and you can see who's seen them. It's great for sharing photos, but also it's about the other content that's on there as well. And this is the same for all the social medias such as Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. They may see pictures on sites like Instagram which show graphic images of self-harm, things like bulimia, eating disorders. They may see them and things about their mental health on there as well. Really positive things about that can help them with it. They may see where people have been affected by these and the results of them, and that could trigger the same issues with them and their own body image. So it's really important, if you're letting them use platforms such as Instagram or even Facebook, that you have a conversation with them about how what they're seeing is through a filter. It's never the full story. We never put a picture up of us online of our ugly morning faces because we don't want people to see it. But they don't necessarily know that. They think there's a demand and a need on them, and it causes mental health issues, as well as lots of other issues where they think their life needs to be Instagrammable all the time, and it's not. It's just not like that, as we all know. So they need to have that information shared. It's why, again, anything under 13, they can't grasp that, but even older, it is worth you knowing what else they can see on those platforms. Even if you set their profile to private, they can still see all the other content on there that people haven't made private. Kik is a messenger, KIK is a messenger program similar to WhatsApp. Bigger in the United States, but it is available over in the UK as well. So it's an unmoderated chat that you can do one-to-one, create the groups as well on there. So it's a big one. So if you ban WhatsApp, you're probably going to have to ban KIK, or at least know what those apps do as well. Moshi Monsters, but also Roblox, are actual moderated platforms for children. So they are safer than others, but nothing's 100% safe. But if you've got younger children, then Moshi Monsters and Roblox are monitored, moderated websites that they can go onto and interact with other people and play games. There's nothing inherently wrong with them doing that at all, and I'd actively encourage it, really, as long as you know what they're doing and you have those conversations with them as well. TikTok is the ability to 15-second videos and to put them to music. Snapchat is probably the most dangerous ones that schools have lots of issues with, and probably parents as well. You take a picture and then that then disappears afterwards. But you can take screenshots of it, you can take other photos of it. So some children might think, I can send it via Snapchat and nobody will ever know. But somebody screen captures that image or takes a photo of it with another phone, and that image is there always. We find with a lot of children, they use it to explore themselves, explore their bodies, and they share photos that they wouldn't want to share in a wider world. It's important to note that if your young child sends pictures of themselves out to others, then actually they are breaking the law. And I know that it's not the police's policy to prosecute in those places. It's better to help them educate, but actually it's distribution of pornographic material, and if they're under the age limit, then of course it comes into much scarier realms as well. And it's important of having that conversation that once they put something on the internet, okay, they lose complete control of it. So terms that they will identify with that are often used in school are terms such as digital citizen, and looking after themselves as well on there. So use those in your chatting with the children and say, look, would you do this in real life? Would you do this out of an online platform? And see what their reaction is to that. And also there's lots of videos that you can use with them on a platform called Think You Know, which I'll show you in just a moment as well. Twitter. Not many young people really use Twitter as much as they use other platforms, but what they do use it for is bullying. Twitter is very easy to stay anonymous on, whereas other platforms you generally have to give your details to it. Twitter you can be fairly anonymous on, and there are lots of people on it with a wide variety of views, from your people who are peddling mistruth. Even the American president has been censored on there recently for peddling mistruths on there. So you really have to have the conversation before they go on Twitter, which is you tweet out posts of 180 characters and people can follow you. On there, you really have to have a conversation about fake news, so they know what is actually reliable and useful information on where to get that from as well. WhatsApp, but any messaging functionality on your phones is obviously a risk for young people. And it doesn't matter what you do in terms of controlling what apps that they can use, they're going to have access to messaging tools for FaceTime, or it might be iMessage or normal text messages. And that is where a lot of the communication will happen, not necessarily through apps if they're not available. And you can't control what they send through those messages. There is no app or control that will stop them sending a horrible text message or sending a picture to somebody else. So it's all about how you can monitor that as a parent and see any changes in normal access. So for text messaging, you should be able to get a breakdown on any bills that you've got about how many text messages they're sending. If they send loads more than normal, you might want to have a conversation with that. If, for example, they're using lots of data and you can see that they're using in a usage, iMessage or FaceTime, or the equivalents over on Samsung devices, Android devices, etc., you might want to have that conversation with them and ask them what exactly they're doing. But it's also important to note that you've got a right as a parent, and sometimes an expectation that you're able to see those devices and go through the messages at any time, and have conversations with your son or daughter about what's in there. And you shouldn't be afraid to do that, because obviously it's your job to keep them safe. They won't understand it, but sometimes that's needed. And it's up to you. I'm not telling you how to be a parent at all, about how you react to it. Some people, take away access. Some people have conversations with them. Some people overlook where they might have used bad language between friends. But there are things, of course, that you can't then ignore. Things like bullying, whether they're bullying somebody or they're getting bullied, inappropriate pictures, and lots of other things aside from there as well. So it is important that you're aware of messages and keeping an eye on them. Look in the email accounts as well. they'll be on the phone. So if you've stopped messaging for whatever reason, they might be emailing. There's so many ways to send messages, and so many programs got messengers on there. That's why it's really important to have those relationships where you can have those conversations with your young people and find out what they are doing. So something that we're always asked about is YouTube and how to turn on the restricted mode. So YouTube is obviously across multiple devices, and the worst thing with YouTube is that your kids will be sat there watching something and you've got no control on what might come next, and that could be young children that use YouTube, and you've got no idea what's next in their next video. It could even be something like a Peppa Pig video and it's been dubbed over, so you have you look at it and they might have headphones in and you can't hear that they're swearing in the voices, and it just looks like they're watching the device on there as well. One thing you can do, and you have to do this per device, is turn on restricted mode. So restricted mode is, whether you're logged in or not, is down the bottom on the web panel here, and you can activate restricted mode. It makes clear, it says it's not 100% accurate, okay, and it's not 100% secure. Now, some of the filtering that we talked about before, it turns it on automatically. So if you buy one of those web filters, or you've turned the filtering on your home internet, it forces the restricted mode on your devices. So that's really useful. But if not, you do have to go around to each device and turn it on. So you can do it on the TV app, you can do it on the app on your device, and there's a handle. If you go to YouTube itself and you search for how to turn on restricted mode, this video talks you through how to do it on your phone, and how to do it on other devices as well, how to do it on the website, how to do it on the iPad app as well. So what you want to search for YouTube is restricted mode, and it will stop a lot of the videos that you're seeing coming through that you don't want them to see coming through, and it monitors that quite a lot as well. So very, very important to use restricted mode on YouTube as well. Finally, we just want to touch on how you use your social media and how you might interpret it as well. And at this point, I often tell a story of within 2 weeks of my mum experiencing Facebook for the first time, she, as a something-year-old lady, fell out with her best friend of a long time because something was misinterpreted over on Facebook. For a start, we all probably know from our jobs or from just general life that it's really easy to misinterpret things when you're using social media or using typed text on there as well. So it's all about the tone that you set on there, because quite often your children will learn from what you're doing. So they may have early knowledge that you've got Facebook or Twitter, and when they look at those different platforms, it's really important that they realise that you're setting a good example, just as you would do in real life. But let's ask some questions, in terms of, do you post pictures of your children on social media? Is your account locked down? Do you practice being online safely? Do you reduce the risk of your children finding inappropriate content? And do you share too much of your information? It's important to note that social media is not an evil platform, but some of the people who use it are. And that means, like anything in life, we have to protect ourselves from those people. If on your social media you're putting pictures of your kids, which lots of people do, are you making it easy to put them at risk? Are you doing it in their school uniform? Are you doing it on a platform that's not locked down? If you are, you're putting your children at risk, and everything else that you might be doing to protect them and their online instances probably won't help. It's not hard for somebody who wants to find out information about young people or even older people on the internet to find that information, from a range of social media profiles to individual links on the internet, and Google searching people's names. They'll be able to find quite quickly information, unless people are particularly careful. Even those who think that they know how to lock things down can easily make a slip up. So make sure when you're using online social media, you think twice before putting a picture on, perhaps with your son or daughter in their school uniform, or maybe at an after school club or any other out of school club that they might do. Have you considered whether that other parent with that kid in that photo of yours would want their children's picture put up, and people to realise, you know, and have access to that because your account's not locked down. You know, is your children, when they use the internet and maybe Google search you one time, are they going to see things that they don't want to see? Are they going to see pictures of them? Are they going to see poor practice? Are they going to see your Twitter account where you're rallying against the institutions? Are they going to see your YouTube videos that you've done with silly pranks and stuff on there? And how do you handle that? And do you share too much information online? Are you ensuring that you're safe and that you're practicing using safe passwords so they can see how to do that as well? So be really aware that they will learn from what you do. And if you're careful and using social media, then they will use it as well. On the flip side, if you're scared to use it and you don't want to touch anything, then they're going to be scared of it as well. So use it well. Don't be afraid to talk about it openly with young people and families so they know what's normal, what's acceptable, and it's not a taboo subject. So what can you do from this session now? Well, you can have a look at your devices at home and you can make sure that you've got your home internet filtering turned on. Look at the device name or the software name and Google that and family controls or parental controls, and that will give you the answers that you need straight away. Set agreements within your family. Set clear, agreed targets with them of how long they can use it for, what they can do with it, and when they need to ask you. Make sure that they know when they can ask you, when they need to ask you to help, that they can do so, or, and I'll show you just in just a sec, how they can use CEOP and report if they're feeling unsafe there, or the NSPCC website as well. Make sure that you have a conversation with them. Maybe you sit next to them for 5 minutes, and it might be insanely boring watching them build something on Roblox or Minecraft or another game that they're using. But sit down, have a chat with them, understand what they're doing, and try and be involved in it. Try and do it together. You might never know. You might like building things in Minecraft and building worlds with them, and it could be something that you do together. Even if you don't like it, show an interest so that they know that you are aware of what they're doing, and they're not going to try and hide it for you as well. Use the resources that we've talked about, so the Microsoft family accounts, the saferinternet.org.uk as well. And then lastly, the resources that I wanted to show you. If you search for the NSPCC, which is the children's charity, they've got loads of help and advice for your children online, about getting bullied and cyberbullying, the effects of it, signs of it, and what to do. Support for parents is there as well. They can also, you can also call them to have advice and learn the best way to protect your children, and you can do it via an online form as well. Your children will know from school that they will be aware of the CEOP button. Okay, so let me just show you CEOP. CEOP is managed by the police. It is the online police, for want of a better word, and your children will have been well trained at home to make a report. So they'll be used to seeing a button on their website, and they can use this system here to make a report. So make sure that they know CEOP. They should know from school. Most school websites have it on there as well, and they can make a report to CEOP about any concerns that they have if they don't feel comfortable in telling you as a parent as well. So you can make a report, or they can make a report on there. In addition, Childline is a really good resource for them. So maybe just stick a post-it note by their device or in their room, and they can text or call the number and they can get help. So this is all designed for young people. So it explains how they can get help if they're worried. It's not all to do with online, but it's a lot of information there about how they can help. They can speak to a real person and they can get that support from there, and they can call, chat or email for help. And you don't need to know about that, but they obviously will be able to get that help if they don't feel safe. Lastly, they can of course speak to people in every one of our schools that we support. Every school by law has to have a safeguarding lead, and you can find that information on every school's website. It's important that you support the school by letting your children know who that person is that they can speak to. However, it doesn't matter who they speak to in the school, because all staff members are trained in safeguarding, and they know the correct way to get the information that's needed to safeguard and ensure your children are safe at all times. That includes the team at Lourdes IT. We are well aware of our responsibilities, and we work hard to make sure devices are secure and safe. Unfortunately, nothing is impenetrable from children, who really want to find something. There's stuff coming unpublished on the internet all times, and that's why we work with schools to make sure that we've got not only multi-tools in place to cover as many things as we can do, but working with their staff to ensure they're trained on a similar session to this about the risks, and parents such as yourself, so we can come from it from all angles to protect young people online. So hopefully this has been a useful presentation for you today, and you're able to go away and turn on some of the immediate things that you need to get your family safe. If I just go back to my PowerPoint, and you can then obviously hopefully keep your children safe online. I'm around now for a little bit. If you have any questions, you can use the Q&A button to see that. If not, thank you very much for your time, and I hope the session was useful for you, and have a good evening.